Make a decision.
Well, I brought Kendall here to dance. I need her to dance. I want her to dance. Well, my kids are not going to be playing. They're going to be dancing.
When Abby Lee Miller cooked up the idea of forming a brand new elite team to challenge her original ALDC girls, she probably envisioned perfection, precision, and a group of bright-eyed dancers who would make her look like a genius. What she got instead? Chaos, tears, sabotage, and some of the most explosive mom fights the show had ever seen. In this 9,000-word breakdown, we're diving deep into the epic disaster that was Abby's replacement team, from their dramatic entrance to their downfall. Get ready, because this isn't just a story about dance. It's about betrayal, ambition, and moms who would rather fight than fix their daughters' fouettes. Season 3 was already off to a rocky start. Abby was frustrated with the original team, especially Kelly, Christy, and the other moms constantly questioning her authority. So she did what she does best, threw a grenade into the situation. Enter the replacement team. These dancers weren't just backups. They were Abby's hand-picked prodigies. Bella Hoffhanes, Kaylee Ware, Ally Sarine, and more were selected to become the new face of ALDC. The original moms were furious. Christy even said, "She's trying to erase our girls." But this was Abby's way of saying, "I don't need your kids. I can build a new empire." She wanted loyalty, not lip. And she thought these girls, who were talented, respectful, and ready to impress, would be the answer. What Abby didn't plan for was how deeply the original team's bond had been forged. Years of competition, stress, success, and even failure had made them tight. The new girls? Thrown together in a pressure cooker and expected to come out golden. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Let's take a closer look at who Abby brought in. Ally Sarine, tall, elegant, and graceful, Ally was a technical powerhouse. She had trained under some of the top teachers and came in with glowing reviews. Kaylee Ware, known for her powerful stage presence and commitment, Kaylee was no stranger to the spotlight. Bella Hoffhanes, a quiet, determined dancer with gorgeous lines and ballet roots. Hadley Waltz, previously featured on Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. Hadley brought energy, and her mom, Yvette, brought the drama. What Abby thought would be a smooth transition quickly became a battlefield. The new moms had something to prove, and they were not afraid to get loud about it. Tensions started simmering immediately. The original team didn't trust them. The new team didn't gel. And Abby? She fueled the fire every step of the way. One of the most shocking accusations came when Bella and Kaylee's mom suggested that Ally and her mom had sabotaged the team routine. Yep, you read that right. At the Energy National Dance Competition, the replacement team had a group number that flopped. Immediately, fingers were pointed, not at Abby's choreography or lack of rehearsal time, but at each other. Ally's mom was accused of feeding her daughter details that others didn't have. One mom claimed, Ally had more rehearsal time, more notes, and more corrections than anyone else. No wonder the dance didn't work. It was never a fair team. There were also rumors that Abby wanted the team to fail, just to teach the original moms a lesson. Sabotaging your own team to prove a point? Classic Abby. And still, she stayed silent. She let the moms scream at each other in the viewing room while she watched from her throne. The fallout from the competition was brutal. Abby called in Bella and Kaylee, sat them down, and told them they were off the team. Cue the waterworks. Kaylee's mom was livid. She said her daughter had been set up and that the entire team was being used as bait to pressure the original ALDC moms into obedience. Bella's mom stormed out, slamming the studio door behind her. Abby made it clear, if you can't handle the pressure, you don't belong here. This wasn't about talent anymore. It was about politics, loyalty, obedience. Abby had turned the dance team into a battlefield, and the girls were the casualties. What happened next was poetic. Bella and Kaylee returned to their original studio, Studio Blue. And guess who they faced off against in a later episode? That's right, ALDC. The showdown was epic. Studio Blue brought power, polish, and revenge energy. Kaylee and Bella danced like their lives depended on it. And while the ALDC girls still had the Abby advantage, the cracks were beginning to show. It was a clear reminder Abby didn't always know best. Sometimes, her emotions cost her real talent. Fans couldn't stop talking about it online. Twitter threads, YouTube edits, and comment wars broke out. Studio Blue should have won. Kaylee was robbed. Abby just wanted to make her OGs jealous. The rivalry wasn't just about dance. It was about revenge. While the girls were dancing their hearts out, the real drama was happening off stage. Ally's mom accused Kaylee's mom of being a saboteur. Kaylee's mom fired back, saying Ally was being favored. Bella's mom said the whole thing was a joke and a setup. Things escalated to the point where Abby had to bring in security during one rehearsal. Security. Even Holly, who tried to stay out of it all, said in a confessional, "It's chaos." And honestly, Abby did this. She created this environment. Abby had built an unstable system, one where moms were pitted against each other like gladiators, and the girls paid the price. It was reality's TV gold. And also a complete mess. After the dust settled, the only new girl left was Ally Sarine. And even she wasn't safe. Abby began to ice her out, using her less and less. Eventually, she vanished from the team entirely, without so much as a goodbye. Fans were outraged. Ally had become a favorite, a symbol of grace under pressure. But Abby never looked back. Ally's mom later said in an interview, "We should have known better." Abby uses people to get reactions. That's the show. In hindsight, Ally was the perfect scapegoat, calm, talented, and quiet. She didn't bring the drama, so Abby dropped her. After the replacement team imploded, Abby went crawling back to her originals. Maddie, Chloe, Nia, Brooke, Paige, and Kendall stepped back into the spotlight, and they knew they had won the power struggle. Christy couldn't resist rubbing it in. "So much for the new team, huh?" Abby pretended the experiment never happened, but the damage was done. Trust was broken, and the girls knew that at any moment, they could be replaced again. But for now, they were back. And they danced like champions, if only to prove they were irreplaceable. Most of Abby's replacement dancers moved on, some to professional careers, others away from the spotlight. Ally continued training and has appeared in professional gigs. Bella and Kaylee both continued dancing competitively for a while, before shifting to more local or academic pursuits. Hadley continued performing and teaching, often speaking about her time on Dance Moms as a learning experience. The moms? Some gave interviews, others went silent. But all of them have become symbols of one thing, the reality show machine that chews people up and spits them out for ratings. So what did we learn from the Great Replacement Team fiasco? 1. Abby will always choose drama over stability. 2. Loyalty doesn't protect you, but neither does raw talent. 3. If your mom can't survive the mom room, your chances on the team are DOA. 4. Never underestimate the power of an underdog, or the vengeance of a mom scorned. 5. Abby's love is conditional. Always has been. 6. Being good isn't good enough, you have to be entertaining too. This chapter of Dance Moms might not have lasted long, but it left a scar and a legacy. Chaos didn't just hit Abby's new squad. It defined it. At the Abby Lee Dance Company, success came with sequins, screams, and strings attached. No matter how many trophies a dancer won or how many times she nailed her solo, it was never enough to earn unconditional support from Abby Lee Miller. Her love had terms, her praise had fine print, and her approval could vanish in the blink of an eye or the turn of a pirouette gone wrong. The rise and fall of favorites. From the jump, Abby had her golden girl, Maddie Ziegler. The message was clear. Be like Maddie, or be forgotten. For a while, Maddie was untouchable, the one who could do no wrong. But even Maddie learned that the pedestal Abby put you on could just as easily become the place she pushed you off from. Remember that time Maddie dared to cry in front of Abby? Instant lecture. Or the moment she showed any loyalty to her teammates. Abby hated it. Loyalty to the team, to your friends, to your mom? Not part of the Abby agenda. She wanted loyalty to her and only her. Step out of line, even slightly, and suddenly you're not the favorite anymore. Abby's love? Revoked. Chloe, the prime example. No one felt the sting of Abby's conditional love more than Chloe Lacasiak. Talented, graceful, and a fan favorite from day one, Chloe constantly found herself under Abby's thumb, or more accurately, under Maddie's shadow. Every win Chloe earned was met with backhanded compliments, eye rolls, or outright criticism. One mistake, and Abby made sure everyone in the room knew. Chloe was replaceable. Chloe could win first place at nationals and still be told she wasn't good enough. Her mom, Christy, knew the game, but that didn't make it any easier to watch her daughter get emotionally whiplashed week after week. It all boiled down to Abby's favorite weapon, fear. If the dancers believed Abby's love was conditional, they'd work harder to earn it. Or so she thought. The revolving door of favoritism. Abby cycled through new favorites like it was part of the choreography. One minute it was Maddie, the next it was Bren. Then Kalani, then Kendall, then whoever hadn't pissed her off that week. She rewarded obedience, punished independence, and handed out solos based on who was most in her good graces, not who was most talented. Bryn Rumfallow came into the ALDC with high expectations and even higher stakes. Abby wanted to make her the new Maddie, but the second Bryn's mom Ashley clashed with the others. The entire plan started to unravel. Abby dropped her like she dropped every other dancer who didn't come with a mom she could control. Kalani Hilliker, a stunning technician with star quality, often found herself being built up just to be broken down. Abby loved her, until she didn't. One bad week, one emotional comment, and Kalani was suddenly cold-shouldered. The inconsistency wasn't just exhausting, it was strategic. Abby wanted her dancers desperate for approval. Jojo Siwa versus Abby Lee Miller. If there was ever a dancer who resisted Abby's mind games, it was Jojo Siwa. Loud, sparkly, and unapologetically herself, Jojo didn't fit the ALDC mold. Abby loved her energy at first, then quickly turned sour when Jojo wouldn't fall in line. Jesselyn, Jojo's mom, wasn't having it. She refused to let her daughter be another casualty of Abby's conditional praise. Jojo's boldness challenged the entire structure. She didn't want to be someone else's version of perfect. And because of that, Abby constantly tried to cut her down. But Jojo's career post-LDC proved the opposite. Sometimes, not earning Abby's love was the best thing that could happen to a dancer. Abby's emotional currency. To Abby, love was leverage. She dangled it like a prize, knowing the moms and dancers would scramble for it. Tears? Weakness? Individuality? Rebellion? The only dancers who earned her love were the ones who suppressed emotion, said yes to every demand, and never questioned her authority. And the truth is, many of them tried. They contorted themselves into Abby-approved versions of perfection. They held back tears, ignored injuries, and internalized critiques that would make grown adults crumble. All for the hope that maybe this week, they'd get a smile from Abby. A compliment. A crumb of praise. But it was never enough. The psychological toll. Abby created a world where love and praise were transactional. You delivered, you got a moment of validation. You messed up, you got screamed at, or worse, iced out. That kind of emotional whiplash wasn't just unhealthy, it was manipulative. It turned confident kids into approval-seeking robots. The long-term effects were clear. Dancers like Paige and Brooke Hyland, who had been with Abby for years, walked away traumatized. Their mom, Kelly, exploded in one of the most iconic Dance Moms moments ever, because she had watched her daughters break down under the weight of Abby's emotional manipulation. Fans saw through it. To the audience, Abby's tactics were glaringly obvious. What she called tough love, fans often called bullying. And when a dancer finally stood up for themselves, whether it was Nia holding her ground or Chloe walking out, viewers cheered. They knew the truth. Abby's love wasn't real. It was a tool. And when that tool stopped working, she discarded it. Nia Sue was another dancer who managed to rise despite the favoritism games. Holly, her mom, saw through the manipulation from the start. She didn't play dirty in the mom room. She played smart. And in doing so, she taught Nia to value herself outside of Abby's approval. The girls grew wiser. Over time, the dancers began to recognize the game. They saw how the strings were pulled, how the favoritism flipped. They learned not to rely on Abby's affection, because it could be gone just as fast as it came. And that knowledge? That was power. When Maddie finally left the show, It wasn't just a career move. It was a declaration. She didn't need Abby's conditional love anymore. And others followed suit. They chose themselves over a woman who only lifted them up when it served her. Conclusion: earned, then erased. Abby Lee Miller built a dance empire on the backs of girls who were constantly chasing her approval. But what those girls eventually learned, and what fans saw all along, is that Abby's love was never truly about them. It was about control, about loyalty, about power. Unconditional love? Never part of the ALDC syllabus. Abby's love was earned, then erased. Given, then revoked. And the smartest dancers? The ones who left it behind, took back their power, and kept on dancing. Abby will always choose drama over stability. If there's one thing dance moms taught us, it's this: Abby Lee Miller thrives on chaos. When faced with a choice between a calm, functioning team and total emotional mayhem, Abby always picks the latter, and Season 3's new squad drama is proof. She didn't just create a new team to motivate her OG dancers. She engineered a meltdown. Bringing in new girls with promise and potential might have made sense on paper, but Abby wasn't looking for stability. She was looking for a spark. And that spark came from turning moms against moms, dancers against dancers, and alliances into ash. Remember how Kaylee, Bella, and Ally never got a real chance to build chemistry? That wasn't an oversight, that was the design. Abby wanted the tension. She wanted the tears. Because the moment the replacements started to bond or settle in, she'd sabotage it with favoritism, mixed messages, or flat-out cuts. That wasn't a coach. That was a producer. And when things inevitably exploded, Abby didn't try to mediate. She watched from the sidelines, arms crossed, lips pursed, silently daring someone to call her out. She was the puppet master. And her puppets? Dancers who just wanted a chance and moms who never saw the strings. So yes, Abby could have built a stable new squad. She had the talent. But she chose drama. Because for her, calm is boring. And boring doesn't make the final cut. Loyalty doesn't protect you, but neither does raw talent. And if you need proof, just look at how Abby treated both her OGs and the hand-picked newbies. Girls who had stood by her for years, through screaming matches, canceled solos, humiliating corrections, got benched the minute they showed the slightest hint of independence. Broken Paige? Gone. Chloe? Pushed out. Even Nia, the definition of loyal, was constantly sidelined. But raw talent didn't earn you safety either. Some of the replacement girls were incredible. Ally Serine, for example, had legs for days, technique for years, and poise that most dancers would kill for. And still, Abby barely acknowledged her once the drama dried up. Bella Hofhanes? Gorgeous lines, ballet background, totally committed, cut without a second thought. Abby didn't care who you were or what you brought to the team unless it helped her storyline. Loyalty was disposable. Talent was interchangeable. And the second you stopped serving her agenda, you were out. That's why girls like Kaylee and Bella were treated like cannon fodder, used to make a point, stir up some tension, and then tossed aside when the ratings called for a new twist. In the ALDC universe, survival wasn't about being the best dancer or the most devoted teammate. It was about being useful, to Abby, to the cameras, and to the chaos. Let's be honest. Abby Lee Miller ran the ALDC like a dictatorship, but the mom room? That was a battleground all its own. For any dancer hoping to thrive at the studio, it wasn't just about who could hit their turns or land a perfect scorpion. No, it was just as much about whether their mom could take the heat and throw it right back. We've seen it again and again. The mom room was like a pressure cooker. Jealousy, favoritism, sabotage, alliances. It was all fair game. And if your mom wasn't willing to fight tooth and nail, your days on the team were numbered. The OG gladiators. Melissa, Christy, Kelly Holly, and even Kathy, when she wasn't swinging apples, turned the mom room into a gladiator arena. The feuds were iconic because they were real. Christy and Melissa's constant sniping over Maddie, and Chloe set the tone for the rest of the show. Kelly was the wild card, explosive, loyal, and not afraid to call Abby out, even if it meant storming out mid-season. Holly was the calm in the chaos, but she knew when to get fired up. And all of them knew one thing. If you wanted your kid to get any attention from Abby, You had to fight for it. Take Kelly, for example. She had 2 daughters on the team, Brooke and Paige, but spent most of her time in the mom room fighting to keep them there. Her battles with Abby were legendary, but her real war was with the other moms, who were constantly undermining her daughter's achievements. The second Kelly left, Brooke and Paige lost their only protection, and we all know how that ended. New moms, new targets. Fast forward to when the new generation started to roll in. Kira, Jessalyn, Tiffany, Ashley. It was open season. Jessalyn in particular proved she was built for the mom room. Loud, unfiltered, and fiercely protective of JoJo, she came in swinging and never backed down. It didn't matter if Abby liked JoJo one week and hated her the next. As long as Jess was in that room, JoJo had backup. Kira, Kalani's mom, had a different strategy. She tried to play it cool at first, until she realized cool doesn't cut it. When the claws came out, especially with Ashley, Bryn's mom, Kira threw down. And we're not talking about passive-aggressive digs. We're talking full-on, in-your-face confrontations. She knew the stakes. She'd already watched too many moms crumble under the pressure. Ashley, for her part, was made to stir the pot. From the moment she walked in, she brought chaos. Whether it was gunning for Maddie's top spot while she was still on the team, or pushing for Bryn to be crowned the new favorite, Ashley played the long game. And Bryn, talented as she was, never stood a chance if Ashley hadn't been going to war for her every week. Moms who couldn't hang. Then there were the moms who couldn't take it. Remember Kaylee and her mom Gloria? Or Ally and Shelley? Total class acts, incredible dancers, and completely unprepared for the shark tank that was the mom room. Gloria tried to play nice, tried to stay above the fray, but that just made her an easy target. The louder moms walked all over her, and Kaylee never got the chance to shine. Shelley? Sweet, supportive, respectful. But if you're not raising your voice in the mom room, Abby assumes you don't care. And in that environment, silence equals invisibility. There's no room for grace or quiet diplomacy in that room. You either scream, scheme, or get steamrolled. The Abby factor. Let's not forget, Abby loved the mom room chaos. The more explosive the fights, the more it fed her narrative. She wanted moms who would defend their daughters and attack the competition. If your mom wasn't willing to go toe-to-toe with Melissa or Christy or Ashley, Abby assumed your daughter didn't want it badly enough. And if your mom ever tried to get too friendly with the enemy, oh please, that was worse than fighting. That meant you were weak. That meant you were next to get cut. Abby thrived on division, so unity in the mom room, that was a death sentence. A sorority of survivors. By the end of the series, you could look at which girls were still standing and trace their survival straight back to their moms. JoJo had Jess. Kalani had Kira. Kendall had Jill, who knew when to suck up and when to snap. Nia had Holly, the ultimate strategist. These women weren't just dance moms. They were warriors. The kids with quiet moms? Gone. The ones whose moms tried to keep it cute and calm? Forgotten. The ones whose moms didn't understand that the real competition wasn't in the studio, but in the mom room? Done. So yes, the dancing matters. The talent matters. But if your mom can't handle the heat in that studio upstairs, you might as well pack your rhinestones and go home. At the ALDC, survival was a team effort, and the deadliest battles weren't even on the stage. They were in the mom room.